Before we begin learning about sectional charts, it's very important to understand that you do not need to know everything about a navigational sectional chart in order to pass your Part 107 exam. This primer course teaches you how to use tools to read only the portions of chart that are represented on the test so that you can easily find answers to questions presented on the Part 107 exam. A visual sectional chart is the primary navigational medium used by the VFR pilot community. A sectional chart contains many components, but the primary ones are controlled airspace, restricted areas, obstructions, railroads, radio frequencies, and location indicators. Here is a visual representation of a complete sectional chart. Now, the sheer volume of information appears almost overwhelming. Fortunately, you only need a very small part of the information presented on a chart like this. Here is a closer view of a portion of sectional map. While there is still a lot of information, a smaller section becomes much more manageable. You may want to purchase your own sectional map for study. Portions of sectional map are supplied in the resources section of this course. However, should you want to purchase your own sectional map, you can find it at your local airport, on Amazon.com, at www.sdp.io/chart, or at skyvector.com. There are also iPhone and Android apps containing sectional maps. One of the most important things you will learn in this module is how to read a map legend. Visual sectional charts contain a legend that explains the markings on the chart. This legend is a powerful tool. You will be given a legend to utilize during your exam. Knowing how to use the legend will make it much easier to pass the sectional chart portion of your Part 107 exam. Essentially, a legend is a breakdown and explanation of what you are seeing on the map. The legend supplied on the day of your exam will accompany a section of chart. This will be the only portion of chart and legend you will be required to find answers from. Again, understanding and utilizing the legend is a large part of passing this portion of the test. It's important that you remember to focus in on smaller areas on the map, to read the map symbol by symbol, and to focus on the question information only. Every chart legend has groups or groupings of data. One of those is airport data. Now, remember that the sectional chart is also for manned aircraft taking off and landing at these airports. So much of the data is not relevant to a drone pilot. However, there are a few things located in the airport data part of a sectional chart that you may be tested on. Other than airspace, which is explained in another module of this course, the airport data that would pertain to a drone or SUAV pilot might include a few of the following. This represents control tower frequency. On your Part 107 exam, you may be asked what the control tower frequency is of a certain airport. That information should be supplied on your visual sectional chart at testing or in the associated legend. You also may be asked what the particular Unicom frequency for a particular airport is. Again, on the associated legend, you should find the frequency. And you may be asked what the frequency advisory channel is. Again, the answer is found in the legend. Can you now begin to see why checking the legend first is very important during testing? When dealing with obstructions for your Part 107 exam, you will again find most of these in the legend. For example, you may be asked if there is an obstruction higher than 1,000 feet above ground level near the area on the chart. By consulting your legend, you can see the symbol for an obstruction higher than 1,000 feet above ground level is an inverted Y shape with a small round circle. You can then consult the chart to see if that symbol is located in the area represented on the exam. The same principle applies to wind turbine obstructions. And objects above 200 feet and below 1,000 feet above ground level, or above 299 feet ground level in an urban area. You may be asked whether or not the obstruction is lighted. As you can see, there is a symbol for lighted obstructions. Group obstructions look like this. Additionally, under obstructions, you will find various elevation information notations. On a legend, airports are usually grouped into categories which include dirt, grass, and other unpaved runways, paved or hard surface runways between 1,500 feet and 8,069 feet in length, and hard surface runways greater than 8,069 feet or multiple runways less than 8,069 feet grouped together. The open dot within the runway graphic indicates landing assistance for manned aircraft. You should not be asked questions about manned aircraft systems on your Part 107 exam. There is additional airport and chart information in the legend. In case you are asked a question that is not anticipated, we recommend you check the legend first, as, again, we have found it to contain many of the answers requested on the exam.